the fishermen,
the taxi driver,
the barber,
the drummers, the dancers.
All of us.
All of us. Everybody. We are Freetown.
The past is ours.
The future is ours. It's our time again.
And this city belongs to everyone.
The playwright,
The greengrocer,
The teacher,
the dog.
This space is ours.
this light is ours.
The beaches are ours.
the rivers now we own,
The roads are ours.
the bridges now we own.
We are Freetown.
We are all visitors and we've all been here forever.
We've got the mightiest river.
And the biggest sky.
And there's a resonance again.
Freetown, Freetown.
We are proud of this place.
We love this city.
And we want you to love it too.
We are proud of this place.
Na pass we all dey pass like stranger dem, but we all don there from there. Come here, and you'll feel it, that end of the line sense of freedom. Say yes to Freetown. Say yes to freedom.
Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation television through our social media handles. This is Good Morning Sierra Leone, today being the 7th of July 2025. The program that always starts your day. I am Shetus Maya.
And my name is Francis Vanna. Good morning and welcome to our breakfast show. Good morning, Sierra Leone. Our quote of the day is from English dramatist Tom Stoker, and it says, "It's not the voting that is democracy, it's the counting." Interesting. We'll have to find out more from the PPRC.
But the thing is that, democracy even goes beyond just counting or voting. Democracy is about equal opportunities, it's about, access. It's about human rights.
Sure.
It's about all of us having, equal access to the national cake. It doesn't stop at only voting or counting.
Definitely. In the program this morning, the main opposition APC reacts to the suspension of the Clerk of Parliament, and PPRC speaks on the expired mandate of the National Executive of the Sierra Leone People's Party. The stories including your messages, which you can send to the number on your screen, or you find us on our Facebook page, Slbc TV Live. This is Good Morning Sierra Leone, and we are broadcasting live from Broadcast House, New England View in Freetown.
We are back, and the program you're watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live from a broadcasting house in England View in Freetown. Well, as you may have heard in the news, recently the opposition suspended their parliamentary duties, urging for their demands to be met for the immediate resignation of the Clerk of Parliament. Their concern was that the clerk has contravened constitutional provisions for vying for a political office while serving as public servant. According to the Speaker, following a full engagement with the President on the matter, a decision was reached for the clerk to step aside temporarily while the President deliberates on the future of the clerk's position. Well, for more on this, we have Karim Kamara, a member of the APC National Publicity Team. Good morning, AKT, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, viewers. Good morning, Sierra Leone. It's a pleasure being here as always.
Okay, now, how do you react to the decision by the Speaker and for the Clerk of Parliament to step aside? Because this has been your call, a demand from the opposition, from the official opposition political party in this country. Yes, I'm saying official because if you are in opposition, if you are an opposition party but you are not in parliament, you are not official. The APC is in parliament and that is the official opposition. So how do you react to this decision by the Speaker?
Firstly, it's not really a decision coming from the Speaker. He replied to concerns we raised, and these concerns were to be addressed by His Excellency the President. And he was just like a conduit channel to communicate his say. What we have succeeded in doing as an opposition is to make sure that we provide what we call that critical voice that is necessary in development. We just don't critique because we feel like criticizing. We want to be a partner in this process, and we're proving it that indeed we are a serious partner and a sober partner. Because one thing that is very fundamental about opposition parties all over the world is that you must be constructively criticizing and compliments where necessary. However, Sierra Leone being a democratic state, and we know that it is and shall always be like that, you have to rule according to the provisions of the law. Anything that is falling short of that will ring the bell, will raise the red flags. So what we did was, as an opposition, through the representation of Honorable Abdul Kabo, the leader of the opposition in Parliament, we were able to bring to the attention of the President that, hey, wait a second, the office Paran is occupying is an office that should be apolitical. You must not be a politician to hold that office, because that office is at the central of the Parliament, the hub of Parliament. It is by provisions of the civil service and all other statutory instruments that regulate Parliament that that position should be held by somebody who is apolitical. And here comes in somebody who is now in that position vying for the Secretary Generalship of a political party. Automatically there is conflict of interest. He will no longer seek the interest of Parliament, but rather he will always seek the interest of the SLPP parliamentarians in Parliament.
But then how do you receive now? You made a call.
Yes, so that is where I am coming.
That call has been hidden.
Yeah, hidden too, and that is
so now. How as the official opposition in this country, how do you react to that?
It's welcoming. That is exactly where I am coming. It is welcoming from the President, because for the first time in the history of Sierra Leone and in the reigns of President Bio, he has given us a listening ear. I repeat, for the first time in his 7 years, this is the first time he has given the opposition a listening ear. However, we want to say thank you, President Bio, for at least for the first time you have been listening to the opposition. But however, that in itself is not sufficient, because what is clear from the reply we got from the Speaker of Parliament is that Umar Parantalawari has gone on leave. There's a distinction from somebody relieving him from duty and somebody going on leave. So what we want to make very clear is that yes, you've had our concern for democratic best practices, that you've already relieved this person on leave. But however, we're making it known to President Bio and to the country at large that in an event Umar Parantalawari goes to the elections and loses that election and wants to come back to Parliament, we'll resist him to first. So the reason is we don't enjoy it when we play this tit for tat. So it's not a game of gimmicks or a game of a tactician.
Okay, so
if Paran is going, let him go completely.
You know, you are all politicians. You normally play with words. And this one, you had wanted the clerk out of Parliament.
Exactly.
He is out. It doesn't matter if he is going on leave, or he is being suspended, or he is being relieved of his duty. The fact is, he is not in the well of Parliament as you speak, and because of that, your members are back in the well of Parliament.
Of course.
So don't you think this is enough?
This I said again in my exact words. At least we give credence and we give kudos to President Bio for the first time he's listening to the opposition.
With no condition.
But this he has done has not in its completeness settled exactly the dying call for democratic best practices. I repeat. Being on leave does not mean you are relieved of your duties. He has been sent on leave. Let us understand this very clear. You know you are a working class person. When you go on leave, that does not in any way mean you have been fired or you have been replaced. You have just gone on leave. 10 chances to 1 there is the possibility of you coming back. But we are saying this person that is going on leave is already vying for the Secretary Generalship in the past.
More easier to tell us more. Because
so let's say I am coming.
According to their calendar, the NDC
will then communicate to us again. He has been reinstated pursuant to the fact that he went on leave. That is where we resist to the greatest force.
The thing is that we are demanding. It seems as
we are saying,
it seems as though AKK,
yes,
that your demand was not met.
It was partially met.
No, in the sense that you had demanded for the resignation of Mr. Parantalawari.
Exactly.
And that did not happen. Now instead he has been sent on leave. Which means, you know, according to even the public and civil service rules, if you are sent on leave or you proceed on leave, you come back. So it means
so we don't want the game of chess here. That let's position him this way, let him go first and try. When he loses, we'll come again and say the leave is done, let him take over his seat. That is what we will resist. And we'll resist with our sweat. We will resist with the strongest fist we have. Because this country belongs to all of us. And the only way President will continue to rule this country is when he rules this country in pursuance to the Constitution.
All right, since you are a politician, is the APC prepared to take what is having similar action if a member of the APC is found wanted the same way?
We will not even attempt doing so because this is unprecedented. The APC is known for democratic best practices. By the very fact that the president knew that parental was SLPP and he appointed him in the Well of Parliament as clerk, the APC will never venture that area because it's undone, it's unceremonial, it's unusual, it's undemocratic.
But there was a bipartisan approach to the election of the speaker 2 years back, in which the APC and the SLPP, all of them were on one page for a member of parliament to come from within parliament, an elected member of parliament to be appointed as speaker. Before this time, it used to be somebody who has reached the rank of judge or whatsoever to be appointed as the speaker of the house. But there came a time when you took that bipartisan approach at that time. The SLPP and the APC, both parties came together, and now they said, okay, a member of parliament should come from within parliament. So was not, and probably the speaker of parliament also is supposed to be, the position is supposed to be apolitical in a way. So it's been said now that could even affect the APC in the future.
Well, let's understand some of these things that happen in parliament. Parliament is an institution by law that is supposed to be distinct and independent. It runs its affairs. It believes in democratic best practices. And at that moment and decision unanimously that was taken by the APC and SLPP to have a Speaker of Parliament from within, I think was appropriate and apt for that particular moment. However, one thing that is very clear about life is evolution. It doesn't mean that the laws that worked for our fathers ages back are equally competent and apt enough to be applied for us today. So in as much as I say the world is evolving and life we live is evolutionary, when the circumstances provoke the necessary actions to divert from what we used to do, hence it is in the interest of the majority, it is in the interest of democracy, it will always be followed, we always support it. However, as an APC, and for the minority leader in parliament, we are satisfied to some extent that for the first time the president has listened to the opposition. But we are saying, and we continue to say,
a member of the Strategic Communications Unit of the APC. This is Good Morning, Sierra Leone. If you have questions from Mr. Kamara, just send them to the number on your screen or go to our Facebook page, Slbc TV Live. We'll definitely ask those questions if they are in place. We continue with the program. The Sierra Leone People's Party has officially dissolved its national executive team. As of midnight, the NEC resolved that all national executive positions are now vacant, paving the way for new leadership within the party. To oversee the upcoming election of the new national executive, the SLPP has established the Independent Election Management and Oversight Committee. The committee has been tasked with managing all processes and procedures leading up to the elections, which are scheduled to take place later this month. Joy.
Our mandate is to ensure that political parties, abide to their constitution, and their constitution sets term limits and the different offices at different levels. And in a radio interview with 98.1 last Monday, I basically informed them that we are waiting to ensure that they go into their national executive council meeting, or else we take action as a commission, because the Political Parties Act 2022, Act 95 of 2022, clearly defines how political parties phase out their mandate. In the last regime, the Political Parties Act of 2002, it was open. So what we found out was that political party leaders, extend their terms, again, 6 months, some goes 2 years. So when we reviewed that in 2022, we ensure that in that act it states that political parties, the lifespan of the executive of political parties, at the end of the lifespan, they have the opportunity to extend for 3 months, not more than 2 times. What they did in January when they held their National Executive Council meeting was that they extended 6 months full, and then on the 30th of June, they dissolved the executive. But we are in the corner waiting. Maybe the letter was in the waiting, to dissolve them if they did not do the needful. So we want to thank them for doing the needful, going by the dictates of the law. And we saw that they've, as said by Francis, they've created IMOC, which is their own ECSL. Their own responsibility is to ensure that they go to the National Delegates Conference. We are waiting on the head of IMOC, who is Dr. Dennis Sadi, to fill us in with the details of how those elections are done. Because they have a constitution and they have their rules and regulations, same as for the APC and EGC, And then we are waiting to get the timeline as to when their campaigns will begin, and we've had hints of the date of the convention, but we are waiting.
But the date has not been.
We are waiting for it to be official. We are in Sierra Leone, we have an official publication, an official date. What we are waiting for, we want the date to be made official.
So does it remain to be more? Do we
Well,
assume?
for us
Do we assume it is still a rumor?
For us, it's a rumor.
Okay.
Until we get correspondence that this is this and this is that. I believe this week the commission will now write to the leader of the party.
But what is certain, even though
what
the
is
date
certain is that they are going to
deal with
this month.
That is what is certain.
That is what is
So
certain.
the question is, how long do they have to do this?
They have a month. I think from the social media, as we are hearing, the 31st and the 1st. That is when they are going to have the national.
So if they fail to go to the delegate conference,
let's forget about failure. When we reach at the failure.
So we just want to know the position of the PPRC.
So what I know we're going to do as a commission is that we normally write to them and remind them of their responsibility. They still have their leader and deputy leader as per their constitution. They say that when you are appointed the leader of the political party and contest an election and you win that election, you remain to be a leader of the party until another leader is being appointed by or elected by the party.
So for now, Lucien, the only national officers, only two now, the president and the vice president, the leader and deputy leaders. Now the question is, now as it stands, it seems as though the former executive members, none of them actually willing to come speak on behalf of the party, and that has to please the leader of the party or the deputy leader for someone to come, by way of representation. So which means there is a vacuum for now. So now, if in terms of correspondences, for example, if there should be an official communication from the PPRC, to whom do you address those correspondences?
Well, to just delve a little bit into what you're saying, for us, we quote unquote include, we not start the nobody as an executive and popular secretary. The person who will send our letters to now is to the leader of the party. Okay. If the leader wants, he can delegate for anybody, but for us, we only know that they have two national officers.
But this leader happens to be, happens to be the chief executive of the country as well. Which means he has very busy schedules. And I don't know if probably, well, as you are saying, it depends on who he delegates responsibility to handle some of these issues. But don't you think in some way, there is going to be some administrative gaps in so far as dealing with the SLB's concern?
Well, I don't think that has ever happened in Sierra Leone because this is not the first time. And we know that they've put structures in place. That is why they have the IMOC. You know, correspondence will be going to the president, you know, with regards the issue of the National Debate Conference. Those questions maybe has to do with IMOC. IMOC IMOC is there are more than 5 people in IMOC. Representatives at regional level. I believe they have a secretariat, you know, that deals with those issues. The president is the president, but he is the leader of the party. So allow him to see how he can malinga his way around and ensure that there is a secretariat that runs the office. But we are not going to say we will not even dare to even discuss SLPP issue again with the past executive.
So Lucien, just a very curious question. Let's find out whether the commission in any way is thinking of giving deadlines. Well, not for this one now. Maybe you provide deadlines for some of these parties, or let me say all the parties. That if your mandate expires in a month, you have this deadline that Sheko is talking about. We
don't need to give them deadlines. Their deadlines are all in their constitutions. We don't need to.
But sometimes they tend to ignore the deadlines.
No. Since the enactment of the Political Party Act 2002, Act number 25 of 2002,
they have always worked like that.
They will come back because we can't create deadlines for people. You know, with regards them, you know, if you look at the 1991 Constitution, it states that political parties must ensure that they operate within democratic principles, which means if there is a constitution, I've seen what will happen from us.
Alright, okay, Lucien, we'll come back to you. He is Lucien Momo, the Director of Training and External Outreach at PPRC. We go for a very short break and we'll be right back.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done.
Need fufu flour, shito, pisa, and moringa. All available at Sap and Moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm
Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
We are back, and the program you're still watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation television and through our social media handles. Now, it is imperative that we take care of our health, which, for example, if we are not healthy, if we don't be here, presenting this program. So it's a must that we take care of our health, which is why in every edition of this program and Good Morning Sierra Leone, we provide some advice as to how to keep ourselves healthy. Well, in today's edition of this particular segment of the program, which is health tips, we take a look at anemia. Anemia is a common disorder that is caused by your body having from iron deficiency and blood loss to inherited genetic conditions. Let us watch and learn more.
Your red blood cells have an important job to do. They deliver oxygen to your organs and tissues. Anemia is a condition where you don't have enough red blood cells, or they don't work as well as they should. Why does it happen? Here are 5 of the most common causes of anemia. Number 1, iron deficiency. Getting too little iron is the most common cause of anemia. Without iron, your body can't make hemoglobin, the protein in your red blood cells that carries oxygen. If you don't get enough iron in your diet, you can be at risk for iron deficiency anemia. Number 2, that includes things like autoimmune conditions, cancer, inflammatory bowel disease, kidney disease, liver disease, and thyroid disease. These conditions can cause inflammation throughout your body. And inflammation makes it hard for your body to use iron and make red blood cells. Number 3, vitamin deficiency. Folate and vitamins B12 play big roles in creating healthy red blood cells. If you're not getting enough of these vitamins, your body may make red blood cells that are too big. Number 4, blood loss. Major injuries that cause you to lose a lot of blood can put you at risk for anemia. So can bleeding in your gut or GI tract, and even having heavy periods. Number 5, inherited anemia. Some people have genetic conditions that put them at risk for anemia. Sickle cell anemia, for example, causes red blood cells to be abnormally shaped. Other inherited anemias keep you from making enough red blood cells, or cause your red blood cells to break down and die quickly, or even make them the wrong size or shape. Anemia is common. It affects 1 in 3 people around the world, and it can range from mild to life-threatening. Talk with your healthcare provider if you have symptoms of anemia, like fatigue, dizziness, shortness of breath, or skin that's paler than usual. They may recommend blood tests for further evaluation. Dietary supplements, medications, or certain procedures can help manage your condition.
We are back, and well, that is just a kind of informative and educative stuff insofar as taking care of our health is concerned. Our program you're still watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone. Well, we still have Karim Kamara, a member of the publicity team of the official opposition, the APC, and Lucien Momo, Director of Training and External Outreach at the PPRC. But firstly, AKK, now we are seeing posters all over the place, you know, of maybe candidates, you know, for the flag bearer position of your party, the APC. Now, where does the executive of the party stand? I mean, the national executive of your party, insofar as these posters are concerned. In fact, not only posters, but campaign is going on across the country, all over the place. You see,
which is being led by the Right Honorable Haji Kaidu Mansari. He has shown landmark leadership. He has shown that indeed he is competent and fit for that job that we placed him in 2 years back. He has shown that indeed he is a person who is able to lead or steer the ship to at least the house. We cried for a level playing field. We cried for a situation where everybody will be given the opportunity to contest and to compete fairly.
Or if let us know if the Secretariat is in receipt of their interest.
Okay. I will say
officially.
I will say this respectfully, that as far as my memory can serve me well, those that have manifested intention to run in for the standard bearership of the APC are Honorable Abdul Usman Timbo, Joseph Ejira Kamara, Cheno Ramadan Majuba. These are people who have seen them openly declare, showcasing that they want to run for the standard bearership of the party. All other candidates that are saying I intend to run, we have not seen the open declaration and we wait to see. However, what I will not venture to answer is this. Whosoever that thinks that is competent enough, he has met the requirements as provided for in our constitution to run for the standard bearership of the party, the doors open.
So,
that is I know where you want to ask me.
So, does that mean that the Dr. Ibrahim Bangura, the other popular man, Chagaban and all the others, have not officially declared their intention with the party to run for flag bearership?
I have not seen it, and it is nowhere evidenced that Dr. Ibrahim Bango has come out publicly to say, I am declaring to run for this position. I know he's preparing himself for something for which I don't know. But however, as a party, we are with everybody. I repeat what I have said, and I am on record. This is the state television. Whosoever that thinks that he has met the requirements as provided for in article of our constitution, that you must have been in the party for 5 good years uninterruptedly, you are not qualified to run for the standard bearership.
Now this uninterruptedly, is that a technical knockout? A possible technical knockout for some candidates.
Well, I repeat what my boss said on state television against CDA at Tunis, and in his exact words. A constitution is not made for one person. It is made for a generation. And thus, that 5-year clause was not haunting anybody. It is for the interest of the party. If you know you have been in the party for 5 years uninterruptedly, you are legit, you qualified to vie for the
So as you only have 3 people who have
officially declared their intention. We are still waiting for more to declare.
Do you have a timeline for them to declare?
No, we don't have.
Okay.
All that we have now is that the constitution says if you are a national officer and you want to vie for a national position, i.e. the standard bearership of the party, you must have resigned from the party 6 months to the end.
You mean from the party? You mean from what? From the party?
Yes.
I don't know.
I repeat again.
From the party?
Yes. Let me repeat what I've just said.
Okay.
For national officers, who, like, for instance, Usman preceding questions. So I just wanted to answer everything before the questions come. After doing so, firstly, there is a time in our calendar that those people who are vying for national offices will submit their applications. And it is this committee, the IAMC, would now vet these applications to see whether you meet the threshold as provided for in the Constitution. That is where we have the elimination series.
Alright.
As to looking at who is qualified and who has met the constitutional requirements. And we'll reply you via your application. Just like when you come here for interview and work at Slbc. When the HR has published vacancies, you apply. Those who are competent enough, who have met the requirements, are called for interview. And it is at that interview based on your performance to tell you, no, you did not meet the threshold as put forward.
All right.
You cannot proceed to the next stage.
Okay, continue to stay with us. You are going to tell us more about this. This is very interesting. We continue with the program. We still have Lucien Bomo in the studio from the PPRC. Now, Lucien, before now you put out a press release asking political parties to remove those political banners in the streets. How far have you gone with that? Political banners in the streets. How far have you gone with that?
That press release was released on Friday with my signature with the blessing of the commission because it's at my responsibility as a director. What we're saying is that we are not in national politics now, and then sometimes around February or the end of April, May, we saw the City Council putting out a release asking people to take off, Ruffy banners in the streets. So we paused with our press release at that time. We thought our political stakeholders were also adhere to that call. Because if you go around the streets, you will even see stakeholders who also adhere to that call. Because if you go around the streets, you will even see, I will just take the example of the Allies one, those banners that were whether religious or whether tribal, and so on and so forth. The problem we had at that time was that whenever they failed, we asked the police to bring those banners down. What they asked us is to ask for court order. But now in the Political Parties Act, we won, we fine, and we expel. And we know political parties are aware, they made those laws. We did not make those laws. They made it's undone, and it's a little bit new.
What about being chairman or secretary?
No, let them confine their political campaigns within their political party offices, within the political party WhatsApp forums, within their political party social.
But then how are you going to enforce? Because the thing is, as it stands right now, you know, there are banners all over the place.
Enforcement is very simple. Enforcement is very simple. There is the law. And because now it's not going to be an issue for the political party. Because, mind you, the political parties acts from the political party also going to engage, you know, the supporters of political parties to ensure.
As you speak right now, let us know how many political parties do you have in your records as registered political parties? Because you see that when elections are around the corner, we see, you know, political parties springing up, and after elections, all of a sudden you see them dying out. And
in the
Lord, one of your recommendations that political parties who fail to get 1% or so.
I was still out of parliament.
I know. So if you look at what Chuck is asking now, that's exactly what's happening, because immediately after election, they would just let me borrow your words, but we feel they actually cease to exist. They only get live when there is election.
No, they do not cease to exist. They continue to exist. The issue about the winning elected seats, you know, in 2 consecutive elections, it has already surfaced itself again in the recommendations of the tripartite, and the political parties now, those that they know that they cannot make it, for us in the bill that we sent to Parliament,
it's something that these 2 elephants in the room are so happy about.
Because
I mean, the duopoly, the dominance, the dominance of these 2 political parties, you know, in our political system. You know, yes, people will argue, okay, even in Ghana it is a duopoly, even in the United States it is a duopoly. But it seems as though this duopoly is like is something that is actually not allowing the smaller parties to grow. The dominance of these 2 giants, you know.
Well, they are the 2 oldest political parties in Africa. They are the 2 surviving political parties in Africa since independence. Because one, they have their structures, well organized. They collect dues on monthly basis. Some of these other political parties are owned by just an individual or 2. You know, all of the members.
But do you think duopoly is a good thing for democracy?
Well, it's not a good thing. It's just that that is what happens.
Right.
But what we think should happen is that if those political parties are able to galvanize for funds for national elections or general elections, so let them do same to ensure that they reach the height of these political parties or close shop.
Right.
But again, if the PPRC move, when I went to PPRC in 2010, we elected 32 political parties. We deregistered 24, and we are left with 8. 2 went to court, and then to Supreme Court, and then Supreme Court said give them a year so that
there's a need for an exclusive interview.
Now look at when we are doing the 2023 elections, we met with the 16 political parties, and we drew up the rules as to who will qualify to participate in that elections. You know, some failed. Mostly even when we reduced
the removal of those political banners.
Well, for now we do not have any timeline, because this is what this is going to be. Because it's not, because now there's not going to be a timeline, because now the APC is going to commence theirs. After the APC last week, while the meeting with UP, they came to seek some clarifications on some things they want to do and so on and so forth. So it's going to be open-ended.
Right. On your way to the studio, did you come across any of those banners?
No,
I mean,
no.
did you say
I came from Sakila?
All right, listen. Finally, before we let you go, how effective or how strong is the PPRC to monitor the election of new executive members of the SCP?
All being very strong. There have been accusations and counter accusations. Staff being asked, staff beaten, by security officers, abusive language, ring on us. That's what we are paid for. And then what we're saying is that where the PPRC is, no mischief will.
All right, thank you very much. He is Lucien Momo, is Director of External Relations at the PPRCs. We still have AKK, with the AKK. So